from CBS 13, Sacramento is now a sanctuary city for transgender people. Absolutely wild. Where do they come up with this stuff?
Hi, I'm Rachel Crandall Crocker, and I'm Executive Director of Transgender Michigan, and I am founder and organizer of the International Transgender Day of Visibility.
The city of Sacramento, this now...
And who is approving it? Who do you pitch this to? Who do you say, you know what, we should become a city where you can come if you want to cut your junk off? How is this happening?
Also in the city, now a transgender sanctuary city.
It's believed to be the first city in California to vote for this designation. So what does that mean exactly?
It doesn't mean anything. The initial, look at the extrapolation, right? So first it was just a regular sanctuary city where you could just hop over the border illegally and the cops wouldn't cooperate with ICE or border enforcement or whatever it was. But now, because the T's of LGBTQ, BBQCIA plus or whatever it is fame, they are demanding to be more of an issue than any other person, right? All Latinos, all black people, the B's and the G's and the L's. Of course, there is no T if there's also a B, but now we're splitting hairs. This is getting wild.
CBS 13, Steve Large is in Lavender Heights neighborhood of...
And of course, I'm sorry, before we get started here, this comes amid, the president saying that Easter is Transformer Day of Visibility and then saying it wasn't really Transformer Day of Visibility.
And Mr. Speaker Johnson the other day said Speaker Johnson said you betrayed the tenet of Easter by proclaiming Easter Sunday as Transgender Day. He called that outrageous and abhorrent. What do you say to Speaker Johnson?
He's thoroughly uninformed.
Uninformed how?
I didn't do that.
And this just reeks of desperation. It's over. This is what you do on your way out, is convince people that they are the opposite sex. And if you feel as such, then you should go ahead and have a surgery that's going to cost you a couple $1,000 and you will be a lifelong pharmaceutical patient.
Sacramento getting answers. Steve?
Well, this is a big win for the trans community here in Sacramento. This is about transgender health care, and the policy is not just...
No, it's not. Healthcare is the same for everybody. When you want to call it transgender healthcare, what you're saying is we are going to slice and dice you and give you a whole bunch of pills for the rest of your life. Otherwise, healthcare, well, okay, obviously it's not the same for every person, but you should have access to what you need regardless of your weird ideology.
Symbolic. It also puts into place strict rules for the city on how they use time.
They're actually transgender safe space. They're playing right into it. They are memeing themselves. Do they really not know how wacky this looks?
And money. I'm elated. Victory for transgender advocates in Lavender Heights, the heart of Sacramento's LGBTQ community.
They've moved to Sacramento, they've come here, and they found a welcoming home for themselves.
Sabrina Naves is a trans advocate.
So yeah, Sacramento, the capital of California, is now a sanctuary for absolutely delusional people. Makes perfect sense, right? What could be crazier than the home of California Governor greaseball scumbag bang your wife Gavin Newsom?
Advocate who says families are moving here from other states that restrict or ban gender-affirming health care. Sacramento is now voting to protect those families by declaring itself a transgender sanctuary city.
And think about how much, you got to be pretty well off. So if you come from big, mean, scary Texas or Oklahoma or even Arizona maybe, then you have enough money to get up and move to California, and then enough money to throw at some doctor who's going to cut your junk off?
I will perform any operation for $129.95. Come in for brain surgery and receive a free Chinese finger trap. Okay, Fred. You tried the best, now try the rest. Call 1-600-DOCTORB. The B is for bargain.
Why do you want to carry what's in my pants?
Ahead of the council vote, a face-off between supporters and opponents. Moms for Liberty held a protest outside City Hall.
This sanctuary city is saying that we will promote the idea that people could be born in the wrong body and that we will kidnap children coming into our state or into our city to give them these surgeries. And we cannot be doing that.
Did people just say
It's absolutely pure evil. This is, I mean, look, I'm not like a holy religious type of guy, but this is absolutely demonic. A sanctuary city. So you paint this picture that you can, I mean, this is like, you know, movie villain level stuff. You can come here and we'll cut your tits and dick off. What?
say that it's transphobic to oppose something? It's just incorrect.
Inside the chambers, the policy firing up public testimony.
And I don't know. Okay, this whole thing with phobia, ist, and ism, and you know, people say, "Well, I'm not scared of anything," and I might beg to differ a little bit, simply because we know by now that this agenda is the most essential ask. So it is kind of scary. When somebody submits to this, they are willing, ready, and able to do almost anything else. I mean, right, they won't do any sane thing, but think about how off the plot you have to be to show up in Sacramento as, I guess, as a parent of a young child or maybe a young adult and say, I'm coming here because where I came from, they weren't going to allow me to my word. And this, of course, wasn't even a thing a decade, 12, 15 years ago. And now it's like, oh yeah, you're a bigot if you, this is absolutely wild.
There is nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, well, there absolutely is, and you're admitting that there is because you want to change it. And this also reminds me of a video from a long time ago, a couple of years ago, where some weirdo out in Florida, who was, I guess, a woman pretending to be a man, said that they, them, zem, zer, knew something was wrong at 2 years old.
When I was 2, I wanted to kill myself. By the time I was 15...
When I was 2? What? Go back. This guy says when he was 2, he wanted to harm himself. No way.
When I was 2, I wanted to kill myself.
Who are you convincing with this? When you were 2, you can't even put a spoon to your mouth. You can't even eat applesauce by yourself. You can't use the bathroom by yourself at 2. What are you talking about? It's completely impossible to believe, but they just push on.
There's nothing wrong with you.
The transgender...
There is, okay. There is, right? And I'll say it once again. You've literally admitted that by telling people that you want to mutilate your body, right? That's because you think there's something wrong with you. Now, the thing that I think is wrong with you and what you think is wrong with you are going to be completely different things, but the point remains, there's still something wrong with you.
Sanctuary city policy will restrict staff from using time or money on efforts from outside states' legal action against people seeking gender-affirming care. There are 23...
There's no such thing as gender-affirming care. Gender-affirming care would be like, you know, some steroids or some testosterone or estrogen, some pills, a needle or something that you would take if you wanted to juice up for a weightlifting contest or a beauty pageant. Or gender affirming care, you mean completely capitulating to this wacky agenda that's only been a thing for about 10 years?
States that now restrict or ban the care.
The problem is right now...
They keep calling it care. Right? And we know this. But and this is why I say this is the final and most essential ask. It is, I go back and forth between this and the climate agenda, because even with this, we can all see, we can clearly tell, any rational person, a little kid, a kindergartner could see, oh, well, this doesn't really make sense. And how do you make babies, or how do you even use the bathroom when you go through this stuff? So it's a little less intrusive, maybe. Now, of course, they are going even more ham with the Transformers than they are on the radical climate agenda. But I guess my point is, they constantly love to manipulate the words, and they've said gender affirming care like 5 times in this video as though that's a thing. I mean, we see it so many times. Oh, asylum seeker. Oh, newcomers. And you think that just because you You change the words, it's going to change the facts. It absolutely does not, and that facade is collapsing, thankfully.
Now what's happening is we're being used as kind of a political scapegoat.
As the battle over healthcare rights extends across the country,
I should have been keeping count. Healthcare, gender affirming care. That's just not it. And as soon as somebody actually tries to give them some care, and I did another video about Now This News reporter who went undercover to expose a doctor who wasn't on board with the agenda, and they titled it, "This doctor was so mean and nasty, I'm already transgender, but they didn't confirm my assumption." It's just absolutely ridiculous. So I guess the point is, they push and push and push, and they want care, but well, now I'm using their language. They don't want these things. They just want you to know they should be able to have them. So if they actually go get, I don't know, maybe a second opinion, and one doctor says, no, this is wacky, you really shouldn't do that, then that person becomes a problem. So the game is rigged. Either way, you lose.
Sacramento is now declaring itself a sanctuary in its own city limits. And this sanctuary policy was modeled after Ithaca, New York's. The Sacramento council member Katie Valenzuela, who authored it, says that she believes this is the first of its kind in the state of California.
This is absolutely crazy. And San Francisco, gets most of the coverage, and they've even gone as far as to try to rename the notorious open-air drug market known as the Tenderloin District to the Transgender District, but they haven't gone quite this far yet. But like I said, it makes perfect sense that this would be happening in the let's go back. That this sort of thing, this transgender safe space, would be happening in now I'm getting confused. In Sacramento, not San Francisco. San Francisco has a whole nother litany of problems. The entire state is not literally, but it is circling the drain. It's too late to save. I always say, if you started doing everything correct yesterday, it would still take a decade. So this is happening in the home of greaseball scumbag, bang your wife, Governor Gavin Newsom, who's writing carve-outs into bills and just as slippery as ever. And I think people are starting to wake up to it, but they're already too strong. They have too much power. And I wanted to go to this one here from a couple days ago or whatever, when all the rage was T-Dove, right? And this is the person who apparently founded the Day of Visibility. And there's a lot of rude, mean comments, and I can totally get on board with making fun of this absolute weirdo. But more importantly, where did this person take this? What email address did you send your pitch to? What phone number did you dial to get this on the board?
Hi, I'm Rachel Crandall Crocker, and I'm Executive Director of Transgender Michigan, and I am founder and organizer of the International Transgender Day of Visibility. And I want to share with you...
I think this is real, and there's a lot of comments saying, is this, is this a meme? Is this a parody? And we're at the point now where you genuinely don't know. But as far as I can tell, I think this is actually real. I haven't done much digging outside of this post because, the waters are so muddy that you literally can't tell. So let's just let
how that all happened.
What?
Many years ago, I had an idea. And my idea was, hey, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a day?
What?
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a day that we could really celebrate? And where we could come together on a worldwide level? Excuse me?
Excuse me.
Okay, I hadn't actually seen the entirety of that little clip. I'm sure there's more. This guy, Right Winged Angel, he's doing the work. He's in the trenches. I do not know where he finds this stuff. But my question is, because I saw this scrolling through Instagram, And, you know, everybody's like, oh, is this real, or this person's crazy? Which are all valid questions. But more importantly, how the hell did this idea from this wacky person in Michigan somewhere become an actual thing? Who did you pitch it to? How was there money involved? How did this actually happen? And then from that, we end up with, you know, a transgender safe space in Sacramento, of all places, of course.